The I Ching is a living transmission of the divine, of consciousness. The I Ching, the Book of Change, is a map of the 64 changing cosmic frequencies of life, of consciousness. This is an ancient wisdom from thousands of years ago that was used to track and harmonize with the forces of nature in order to guide the people, an empire, a civilization. In the 1960s, humanity discovered the 64 genetic codons, our DNA. Magically, they have the same mathematical formula, the same exact geometry as the 64 I Chings. Every 6 days, the sun activates one of these 64 I Ching frequencies, which activates within us a corresponding genetic codon, which stimulates our consciousness, the theme of the life. When we enter into contemplation with a particular I Ching, especially with the I Ching the sun activates each week, then life sends us the experiences we need to unlock the shadow, which raises our vibration and awakens the divine within. The intention of this video is to serve you in the highest blessed way. This is abstract energy of sensing, so receive this message with your heart and body. This week, our sun, the sun within us, our consciousness life, is activating the 17th I Ching. The transformational path of this frequency moves us from the shadow of opinion to the highest vibration of the third eye, and it's through the path of farsightedness. This I Ching is all about how we see and think of the world. The wisdom in this I Ching is directly connected to the 3 stages of imprinting in our childhood. The first 7-year cycle, 0 to 7, which governs our physicality. The second 7-year cycle, 7 to 14 years old, which governs our emotional life. And the third 7-year cycle, 14 to 21 years old, when our mind develops our primary thought patterns, our psychology. And this 17th transformational path is about how the architecture of our mind is built during the last teenage cycle, 7 to 14 years of age. So you can see why the shadow is called opinion. And those with strong opinions may object to that. What is wrong with having an opinion, you might ask? Why is that a shadow? Well, it's not so much about having an opinion, but being trapped by your opinions. It's about being a victim to your opinion. Have you ever noticed that we think of an opinion as if it's our own, as though it defines us, as though it's a part of our identity? We say, this is my opinion, or in my opinion. So at the shadow frequency, our opinions define us. They limit us, but they aren't who we really are because they can change in any moment. And the strongest opinions become meshed in our worldview that forms around our wound experiences from early childhood cycles. And they crystallize in our mental consciousness as we try to cope with the world as teenagers. And the dilemma here helps by bringing the other half of the story. It's the dilemma of politics. By politics, I don't mean the external means of government, but the internal means. In other words, the way in which our shadow mind works. And it works by taking sides. It takes on a singular limiting view. And it does this out of our emotional insecurities. And it will even build a whole life around this wound. And this leads to the division in the world. It leads to left and right, Democrat, Republican, liberal, traditional. It leads to politics, emotional politics, sexual politics, intellectual politics. The intellectual mind is all about politics, and the political mind is always the defensive mind. It has an investment in feeling safe based on an opinion. So when it's challenged, it hardens even further around that wound or that opinion. Think about the views you hold about the world. Is your view of the world lopsided, or can you view the world with equanimity, with calmness inside? It's a powerful contemplation to sit with, to look at the opinions we hold, consciously or unconsciously, and see how they trap us. Think about something in the life that concerns you. Is there a should attached to it? Things shouldn't be like this. It may not be comfortable, but your opinion is often the first stage of denial of what is, of the way things actually are. So only when we're able to see through the structures of our opinions and our worldview, only then transformation is possible. We often think politics is the only way to try to sort out our differences. We think it's the norm. We even think it's healthy. But you have to have one person on one side with an opinion, and then another person on the other side with an opposite opinion. All you really have is an argument. When we look at our leaders, they spend most of their time arguing. Don't they look a little bit like teenagers arguing with their parents? The thing is, we get stuck with our worldview, and then we carry it out into the world. It becomes who we think we are, so we have to defend our view. Otherwise, who are we? Who are you without your opinions? Think about that. So think back to life between the ages of 14 and 21, and look at the opinions you formed during that time about the world. For me, my deep and painful unconscious opinion of the world as a teen and beyond was that you have to work hard and fight back to survive in the world. Basically, unconsciously manifesting oppositional forces until the day I became aware of it and saw it for what it is. So dig in, and you will find these beliefs and opinions. Many of us are caught in a web of opinions that simply don't serve us anymore, and we have to see it to let it go. We are two contradictory views. We have two eyes. We have two hemispheres of the brain, always two. And because it's so uncomfortable to be two, we choose one and let it dominate. And we pretend we feel safer. And this is how the political mind works, logical or intuitive. It's one or the other. The 17th shadow has a distinct leaning towards the logical, scientific, towards the left brain view. A pure skeptic doesn't have a viewpoint to defend, so you won't find any aggression or defensiveness in them. It's rare to find a person that has transcended the dilemma of the political mind, a person that could see both sides of an argument, who has embraced both logical and intuitive as equally in value. So use this shadow to dig into those places in your mind where you feel the need to defend a viewpoint. You can have a viewpoint, of course, but that view doesn't have to define you. So as long as you're aware that any single view is not the whole story, then you have freed yourself from the clutches of the political mind, of the opinionated mind, of the victim mind. The 17th gift, the way to alchemize the shadow and raise the vibration, far-sightedness. We need to understand something fully before we can transcend it. This is what genius is all about. We learn something, and then we unlearn it, and then we transcend it. But our transcendence includes it. And this is what compassion is. The view from the city, the highest vibration. You know what it's like to be opinionated. You understand it deeply from within. So when you come across it in another, you don't need to fight them. You don't need to react. You simply let them have their process. You don't have to try to convert them. In fact, you won't be able to, so you need to let it go. That's also part of the healing. But you can kill people with kindness. That opinionated person doesn't then know what to do with that pure, loving intelligence. The 17th gift is powerful. It's the power of farsightedness. It's the gift of seeing the matrix, the whole matrix, within all its details. And once you have seen it, you can never go back to the land of opinion or division. This is the domain of the heart mind. You merge the opposites. You look with intuition and intellect, and you rise up to the higher levels of your functioning. The 17th gift is about seeing with your causal body, and the causal body is the subtle equipment that humans have to look at something beyond the mind. The causal plane lies beyond the mental plane. It's the realm of wisdom. It's not about knowledge. It's about the direct seeing of truth. And you perceive truth through the whole body. It is here where revelations come from. Insights, epiphanies, satoris, breakthroughs. Every genius that has ever lived has seen with these eyes. They have lifted themselves up to look at life through the wider eye. and many were not able to live there, but they captured it through their art, their science, their particular stream of genius. And this is why genius is always ahead of its time. It's far-sighted. It sees where we came from, and it sees where we are going. The gift frequency is always a process. It's the process of dismantling the shadow. And as we drop our fixed views and opinions, our cells open up to this higher mind, and we have a breakthrough into the higher realms, a higher truth that exists beyond the world that we see. We see into the interconnectedness of all things, the holographic universe. But we need gaps and pauses to integrate these truths. It's too much for most of us to see it all at once. We are lowered gently into the ocean. After an epiphany, there's such a charge rushing through the body. You feel so powerful. We have to ground that insight into our daily life, so we're given time. To see through the eyes of wisdom is to see through a 360-degree vision, seeing through the connectiveness of all things. The 17th gift favors the left brain approach, so it can really see the architecture of life. It sees fractals and the patterns of existence. It sees the synarchy of creative evolution. It sees through the heart. So the 17th gift knows how to overcome politics. It knows how to get communities working together. You really don't get anywhere by arguing, disempowering, or fighting for position. You work with each other through empowering, through affirmation, through listening. This isn't idealistic. This is practical. A left brain genius is all about mastering techniques in order to transcend techniques. A left brain musical genius, for example, is very different than a right brain musical genius. The left brain works in hierarchies, in levels and sequences. The right brain works illogically and makes quantum leaps, but they both lead to the same place, to transcendence. Think of a truly healthy teenage mind. Think about how open it is. Think about how revolutionary it is. Think about how it sees ahead. Why do you think adults are so into science fiction? It's the gift of farsightedness. We all have this gift regardless of our energetic design. So the 17th gift is about reclaiming that mind, that causal view beyond the veil of the world. And it's about letting the open heart see through that kind of mind. It brings on a creative revolution. Let your heart open that wide. Then look at life, and you will see what the 17th gift sees. You will see the beauty, the magic, the miracle of true nature, of the dream world we live in. The 17th city, the highest vibration, the divine third eye, the all-knowing, all-seeing. The 17th city activates the fullest expression of the pituitary gland, which represents the transcendence of our dualistic view of our senses. It's the third transcendence view of the whole. You cease to be, so you yourself don't see. The cosmos sees itself through you. A beautiful phenomenon, nothing to fear. The cosmic sunset that brings an end to your individuated existence. I empower you this week to create space, get to higher awareness, notice your thoughts, feel all the sensations fully that come up in the body, shine the light of awareness to any emotional charge connected to your opinions and worldviews. What is being shown to you? Breathe in, breathe out. Remember, love yourself and choose to be blessed.